Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Real Life Chronicles, where we dive into those unbelievable true stories that hit you right in the feels. If you're new here, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more heart-pounding tales like this one. Today, I've got a doozy for you, a story straight from the streets of Chicago, Illinois, back in the early 2000s. It's about love, trust, massive betrayal, and the kind of karma that makes you believe in cosmic justice. Buckle up, because this one's going to take you on a roller coaster. Picture this. It's 2005, and I'm a 28-year-old guy named Alex Thompson, fresh out of a dead-end job in construction, scraping by in a tiny apartment on the south side. Chicago's winters were brutal that year, the kind where the wind off Lake Michigan feels like it's slicing through your bones. I was hustling side gigs, fixing roofs, painting houses, anything to keep the lights on. Money was tight, but I had dreams. Big ones. I wanted a family, a home, stability. Little did I know, fate was about to throw me a curveball wrapped in a beautiful smile. I met Sarah at a local coffee shop called Brew Haven, one of those cozy spots with mismatched chairs and the smell of fresh ground beans hanging in the air. She was behind the counter, her auburn hair tied back in a ponytail, laughing with a customer about some silly order mix-up. I ordered a black coffee, nothing fancy, but our eyes locked, and bam, that spark. You know the one? The kind where time slows down, and suddenly the noisy shop fades away. We chatted for a bit. She was studying part-time at community college, aiming to be a teacher, and her family owned a small chain of Italian restaurants across the city. The Moretti family, old-school Italian-Americans who'd built their business from nothing after immigrating in the 70s. Our first date was magic. We walked along the Navy Pier at dusk, the Ferris wheel lights twinkling against the darkening sky. Sarah opened up about her life. Her parents, Giovanni and Maria, who poured their souls into the restaurants. Her brother, Marco, the hot-headed one always scheming new ideas. And her sister, Elena, the practical one keeping the books. They were tight-knit, the kind of family that argued loudly over Sunday dinners but would die for each other. I envied that. My own folks had passed young in a car accident when I was 18, so I'd been on my own ever since. As weeks turned to months, Sarah and I fell hard. We'd spend evenings in her family's flagship restaurant, Bella Vita, in Little Italy. Giovanni would slap me on the back, calling me Figlio, son, and Maria would stuff me with homemade lasagna until I couldn't move. They saw potential in me, I think. Or maybe they saw a sucker. Hindsight's 20/20, right? Fast forward a year, we're engaged. Sarah's ring was simple, a small diamond I saved 6 months for, but her eyes lit up like the Chicago skyline. The Morettis threw a massive party, pasta flowing, wine toasts echoing through the hall. That's when Giovanni pulled me aside. "Alex, my boy," he said, his thick accent warming the words. "We're expanding. New location in Wrigleyville. Prime spot near the Cubs stadium. But banks are tight. Family helps family." I nodded, eager to prove myself. I'd been saving a bit, but nothing huge. Except, there was this one thing. 10 years earlier, in 1996, when I was just 19 and clueless, I'd stumbled into investing. A buddy from high school dragged me to a seminar on tech stocks. Everyone was buzzing about the internet boom. On a whim, I dumped my meager savings, $5,000 from odd jobs, into shares of a little company called Amazon. Yeah, that Amazon. It was a gut feeling. Jeff Bezos was just starting out selling books online. I forgot about it mostly, tucked the certificate away in a shoebox under my bed. Never touched it since. But I didn't tell anyone, not even Sarah. Felt like a silly kid's gamble, and honestly, I was embarrassed if it tanked. So when Giovanni asked for help, I liquidated everything else. My savings account, sold my beat-up truck, even cashed in an old life insurance policy from my parents. Totaled about $150,000. I handed it over, no questions asked. "For the family," I said. Sarah beamed, hugging me tight. "You're our hero, Alex." The expansion started strong. We broke ground in spring 2007, hammers pounding, dreams building. I quit construction to help full-time managing suppliers, overseeing construction. Marco and I butted heads often. He was flashy, always pushing for fancy decor we couldn't afford. Elena warned about budgets, but Giovanni waved it off. Trust in family, he'd say. Have you ever poured your heart into something, only to watch cracks form? That's what happened next. The 2008 financial crisis hit like a freight train. Real estate tanked, tourists dried up, and our loans ballooned. Suppliers demanded payment upfront. I worked 18-hour days negotiating, begging, but it wasn't enough. By 2009, Bella Vita Wrigleyville was hemorrhaging money. The family meetings turned ugly. Giovanni blamed the economy. Marco blamed me for cheap contractors. Elena just cried over the spreadsheets. Sarah stood by me at first, whispering encouragements in bed at night. But whispers turned to doubts. Alex, maybe we should have been more careful, she'd say. Her family echoed it louder. One night, over a tense dinner, Giovanni exploded. You invested all you had? What kind of man risks everything without a backup? I bit my tongue, thinking of that shoebox stock, but pride kept me silent. They didn't know. If the story's hitting home already, pause for a sec and hit that like button if you've ever felt the sting of family pressure. And don't forget to subscribe, and trust me, the twists are coming. The breaking point came in 2010. The bank foreclosed on the new location. We sold off equipment to pay debts, but it wiped us out. My $150,000? Gone. Vanished into the ether of bad decisions. I was broke, sleeping on Sarah's couch in her parents' house because I'd given up my apartment. That's when the betrayal crept in, slow at first, like poison in your veins. Sarah started pulling away. Late nights at work, but I smelled perfume that wasn't hers. Whispers with Marco about moving on. Then the bomb. Giovanni called a family meeting without me. Sarah came home teary-eyed. Alex, we think, it's best if we take a break. You've given so much, but we're all struggling. Maybe space will help. Space. We'd been married 2 years by then. I begged, pleaded, but her eyes were cold. You promised stability, Alex. But look at us. The divorce papers came a month later. No kids, thank God. But she took what little we had, the car, half the furniture. The Morettas? They cut me off like a bad habit. Marco smirked as I packed my bags. Tough luck, bro, family first. I crashed with a friend, drowning in regret. Nights staring at the ceiling, wondering where it all went wrong. But in that shoebox, buried under old photos, those Amazon shares sat quietly, growing. By 2010, they'd multiplied from $5,000 to over $100,000. Still, I held on, too numb to cash in. Little did they know the real explosion was coming. What would you do if your in-laws turned on you like that? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one. And if you're hooked, share this video with a friend who's been through betrayal. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell button because things is about to get even darker before the dawn. It's 2011, and I'm a ghost of a man. Divorced at 34, crashing on my buddy Jake's pull-out couch in a cramped Logan Square apartment. Jake was a good guy, a bartender at a dive called the Hopping Hare, always slipping me free beers and pep talks. Alex, you gotta get back out there, he'd say. But how? I was flat broke, my credit ruined from the restaurant debacle. Job hunting was a joke. Construction gigs dried up in the recession, and my resume screamed, failed family business investor. Nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, replaying every moment with Sarah. Our wedding in Grant Park, cherry blossoms swirling like confetti. Her laugh, light and infectious. How did it turn so sour? The Morettas had poisoned her mind. I knew it. Giovanni's disappointed shakes of the head, Maria's silent judgments, Marco's outright mockery. Elena was the only one who sent a text. Sorry, Alex. It's complicated. Complicated? I'd given them everything. One day, I scraped together enough for a bus ride to Little Italy. Bella Vita was still open, barely. Through the window, I saw Sarah waiting tables, her ring finger bare. My heart twisted. I almost went in, but pride, or fear, stopped me. Instead, I wandered the streets, ending up at the old stock exchange building downtown. That's when I remembered the shares. Dug out the shoebox from Jake's storage, dusted off the certificate. Amazon had split stocks, grown exponentially. My $5,000 investment, now worth about $500,000. Not billions yet, but a lifeline. Could have cashed out, started over. But something held me back, anger, maybe. I wanted to prove them wrong on my terms. Meanwhile, the Morettas were thriving in their own twisted way. Word got around through mutual friends. They blamed me publicly for the failure, saying I mismanaged funds. Marco even started dating Sarah's best friend, flaunting it on social media. Facebook was big then. Sarah? She moved on fast rumors of a new guy, a lawyer named Brett, all suits and smiles. Stung like hell. Have you ever felt that burning rage when someone you trusted stabs you in the back? Yeah, that's where I was. I took a job at a warehouse, loading trucks for minimum wage. Grueling work, but it built character and muscles. Days blurred. Lift, sweat, repeat. Evenings, I'd hit the library reading about investing. That's when I started diversifying quietly. Used a small loan to buy more stocks, Apple, Google, but Amazon remained my golden goose. By 2012, things escalated. Sarah filed for full divorce settlement, claiming I hid assets. Hid assets? I had nothing. Her lawyer Brett, of course, dug into my past. But the Amazon stock was in a forgotten account, untouchable. Court was humiliating. Giovanni testifying how I ruined their legacy. Maria dabbing tears. Marco sneering from the back. Sarah avoided my eyes. Judge ruled in her favor for spousal support. $500 a month I could barely afford. Post-divorce, I hit rock bottom. Drinking too much, isolating. Jake dragged me to AA meetings where I met folks with worse stories. One guy, a former exec, said, "Betrayal's a teacher, man. Teaches you who you really are." Stuck. I sobered up, focused on self-improvement. Gym, books, side hustles. All while that stock climbed. 2013, $1 million. 2014, $2 million. Silent wealth building like a storm cloud. The karma hints started small. Marco's new venture, a food truck, flopped spectacularly. Elena confided in a mutual friend. Family fights were constant. Giovanni's health declined, stress, they said. Sarah and Brett? Engaged, but whispers of arguments over money. I stayed invisible, plotting my comeback. One night, alone in my new tiny studio, finally off Jake's couch, I stared at the stock app. Amazon hit new highs. My net worth? Pushing $5 million. The betrayal fueled me. They thought I was broke, I muttered. Wait till they see. If you're feeling that fire right now, like this video and share it with someone who's overcome betrayal. Legends. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. We're halfway through this epic tale, and the payoff is worth it. Like and share if karma stories get you pumped. Let's jump in. It's 2015. Chicago's summer heat waving off the pavement like a mirage. I'm 38, living modestly in a one-bedroom in Wicker Park. Warehouse job upgraded to manager, but that's not the story. The real magic? My Amazon stock. With splits and growth, that $5,000 seed had blossomed to $50 million. Yeah, you read that right. I quietly sold bits over years, investing in real estate, a few rental properties in the suburbs, and more tech stocks. Net worth closing in on $100 million. But I kept it low-key, old clothes, cheap car, no flash. Why hide? Revenge, partly, but mostly healing. I dated a bit, nothing serious, focusing on me. Therapy helped unpack the betrayal. You deserved better, the counselor said. Damn right. Then, the trigger, a family reunion invite from a distant cousin. The Morettas would be there, Sarah included. I almost trashed it, but curiosity won. Dressed casual, I showed up at the picnic in Millennium Park. Giovanni looked frail, leaning on a cane. Maria fussed over him. Marco, bloated from bad habits, argued with Elena. Sarah? Still beautiful, but lines around her eyes spoke volumes. Brett was absent. They'd split, I heard. Awkward hellos. Giovanni gripped my hand. Alex, good to see you. Sorry about everything. Sorry? Too late. Sarah pulled me aside by the bean sculpture, the city reflecting warped in its surface. I regret it, Alex. We were wrong. Tears welled. Brett left me broke. The restaurants are failing. I nodded, heart pounding. Life's funny, I said. That's when I dropped the bomb, casually, over potato salad. Remember that old stock I mentioned once? Amazon. Bought it in '96. Worth a bit now. A bit? Understatement of the century. Word spread fast. Marco laughed at first. Yeah, right? But I showed the app on my phone, balance redacted, but enough to widen eyes. Shock rippled. Giovanni paled. Maria gasped. Sarah's face crumpled in regret. Days later, calls flooded. Giovanni begging for a loan to save Bella Vita. Marco offering partnership. Elena was apologetic. Sarah? Texts pouring regret. I never knew. Can we talk? I met Sarah at our old coffee shop. She looked defeated. Alex, I betrayed you. Thought you were holding us back. But you were the smart one. Tears flowed. Karma hit hard, their empire crumbling while mine soared. By 2016, my worth hit $500 million. I started a foundation for small businesses, ironically. Bought out competitors subtly. The Morettas? On the brink. Quick question. If an ex begged for help after betraying you, would you give it? Let me know in the comments. It keeps the convo going. If you've made it this far, you're a trooper. Like, subscribe, and share this story. It's been a ride. Now, in 2017, I'm a billionaire. Amazon exploded post 2016, pushing my holdings over $1 billion. I moved to a penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan, but stayed grounded charity work, mentoring kids from rough neighborhoods like mine. The Morettas? Rock bottom. Bella Vita closed down. Debts mounting. Giovanni's heart attack landed him in hospital. Maria sold jewelry to pay bills. Marco in rehab. Elena working retail. Sarah? Single, struggling as a substitute teacher. They reached out desperately. I could have ignored, but heart-touching moment. Visited Giovanni in the hospital. He wept. We thought you broke, Alex, but we broke you first. Forgive us. Forgiveness? Tough. But I paid his bills anonymously, helped Elena start over. And Marco? Let him learn. Sarah? We talked long. Regret heavy. I lost the best thing. No reconciliation. Too much water under the bridge. But closure. Karma served. They regretted I rose. Today, I'm happy. Married to a kind woman. Kids on the way. Lesson. Betrayal hurts, but secrets can save. That's the story, folks.